Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Reform is the key to relevance, says Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as he calls for transforming global institutions at the UN Summit of the Future. Sri Lanka's President Anura Dissanayake picks Harini Amarasuraya as Prime Minister. Other NPP MPs Vijay Therath and Lakshman Aranchi also sworn in as cabinet ministers. And German carrier Lufthansa plans to suspend its Beijing routes departing Frankfurt Airport due to increased competition and rising operational costs. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is en route to India after concluding his successful three-day visit to the United States of America. Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US was action-packed with significant events, including a bilateral meeting with President Joe Biden at his Delaware residence, the 6th Quad Leaders Summit, and addressing the Summit of the Future at the United Nations, making this visit a decisive step in strengthening India's global partnerships and influence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of the Summit of the Future in New York. The two leaders recalled Prime Minister's recent visit to Ukraine and expressed satisfaction at the continued consolidation of bilateral ties. The situation in Ukraine, as well as the way forward on pursuing a path to peace, also figured prominently in their discussions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Summit of the Future at the UN headquarters in New York on the third and final day of his visit, calling for the primacy of a human-centric approach in our collective quest for a bright global future. The Prime Minister highlighted India's success at scaling sustainable development goals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also called for urgent reform of the institutions of global governance, including the UN Security Council.
Global action must match global ambition.
The statement by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi defines the fundamental course correction needed for a sustainable and equitable future. Prime Minister Modi arrived at the 79th UN General Assembly session to address the Summit of the Future in New York. Prime Minister said reforms are the only way forward for global peace and development.
वैश्विक शांति एवं विकास के लिए ग्लोबल संस्थाओं में रिफॉर्म्स आवश्यक है. Reform is the key to relevance.
Apart from reform of multilateral institutions and the global governance architecture, the Prime Minister strongly reiterated India's long-standing position that resolution to global conflicts can only be brought about by engaging in dialogue, sitting across the table and not on the battlefield.
सक्सेस का हमारा यह अनुभव हम ग्लोबल साउथ के साथ साझा करने के लिए तैयार है.
Prime Minister said the world must prioritize a human-centric approach. He flagged the continuing threat of terrorism and cybercrimes and advocated strengthening the global digital governance and tech regulation. He also gave an example of how India successfully lifted 250 million people out of poverty. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address, underlined the key threats and opportunities in the path towards sustainable future. And with its remarkable achievements in poverty alleviation and advances in digital public infrastructure, Prime Minister emphasized that India can show the way. With my colleague Amritpal Singh and camera person Sanjay Jaina, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India at UN headquarters in New York.
The UN General Assembly high-level week beginning on Tuesday with representatives of 193 member countries convening at the world body's headquarters in New York. This year's theme is Leaving No One Behind, acting together for the advancement of peace, sustainable development and human dignity for present and future generations. The general debate, the key event of any UN General Assembly, begins on September 24th with speeches from leaders of member states. As is tradition, Brazil's president will be the first to take the podium, followed by US President Joe Biden. With 4 months left in office, Biden steps up to the green marble lectern to address world leaders, with conflicts in both Europe and West Asia likely to outlast his presidency. A female cat has more freedom in Afghanistan than a woman does. This is what Hollywood actor and activist Meryl Streep said at the United Nations. In a bid to get the world leaders to focus on the plight of Afghan women and girls, the actress said, and I quote her, "A cat may go sit on her front stoop and feel the sun on her face. She may chase a squirrel into the park. A squirrel has more rights than a girl in Afghanistan. At present, most girls have been barred from high school and women from universities by the Taliban-led government there. The group has closed beauty salons and curtailed travel for women without a male guardian." National People's Power MP Harini Amarasuraya has been sworn in as Sri Lanka's Prime Minister. Dr. Amarasuraya was sworn in before President Anura Kumara Dissanayake at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon, a day after Dissanayake himself was sworn in as the President. NPP parliamentarians Vijit Herad and Lakshman Nipun Arache were also sworn in as Cabinet Ministers. And DD India's Dr. Ahmed Muin Farooqi joins us from Colombo now for more. Harini Amarasuraya has become the third female Prime Minister in the country's history. And Dr. Farooqi, it's after a long time that the country sees a woman at the helm of affairs. So why has Dissanayake chosen her as his PM pick?
Tanvi, you see, this is a time when Sri Lanka is just entering into a new kind of a political arena. Primarily speaking, NPP, which has never been in this kind of a position ever, has now been given the mandate to govern the country for the next 5 years. But at this time, NPP does not have sufficient members in the parliament. There are only 3 members as of now, Harini Amarasuraya being one of them. She's a very, very educated, very highly educated parliamentarian. She is an India alumnus to begin with. She has done sociology from University of Delhi. She has also done PhD in social anthropology from Edinburgh. And given all these circumstances through which the Sri Lankan economy has gone through, probably the president feels that she is the best fit to take care of the affairs of the government as of now. She is a person who has been seen very vocal about various social issues, including child welfare, women issues, and various other related matters pertaining to social security. Given all these circumstances, it is, a very, very pragmatic approach, I believe, and it's a fortunate thing that Sri Lanka is getting, the first time ever, a PhD as a Prime Minister, and this is going to be probably a momentous occasion for Sri Lanka as well. Tanvi.
Okay, we leave it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Muin Farooqi, joining us from Colombo. All right, updates from West Asia now. Israel's large-scale airstrikes across Lebanon resulted in at least 500 deaths and over 1,500 being injured as thousands of people are fleeing the south for safety. Israel's army has said that it launched more than 650 attacks on some 1,300 Hezbollah targets across Lebanon over the past 24 hours. Israeli warplanes conducted intensive raids in southern and eastern Lebanon, forcing thousands of residents from the cities to flee towards Beirut and Mount Lebanon. Also on Monday, Israeli airstrikes in Beirut targeted Ali Karki, a senior Hezbollah commander. Later, Hezbollah issued a statement claiming that Karki is safe. In response to the Israeli attacks, Hezbollah fired over 150 rockets towards northern Israel throughout Monday. Since October 8, 2023, Hezbollah and the Israeli army have been exchanging fire across the Lebanese-Israeli border amid fears of a broader conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent a short video statement address to the Lebanese people, Netanyahu urged the people of the Lebanon to get out of harm's way at the earliest.
I have a message for the people of Lebanon. Israel's war is not with you. It's with Hezbollah. For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon. Please, get out of harm's way now. Once our operation is finished, you can come back safely to your homes.
Next, Russia-Ukraine conflict updates. Russia's air defense units reportedly destroyed about 13 Ukrainian drones on Tuesday. Out of 13, 6 drones were destroyed each over the Belgorod and Kursk regions, while one was downed over the Bryansk region. On the other hand, Ukraine has alleged that Russia launched 81 drones and 4 missiles to attack the country overnight. The Ukrainian Air Force said that it shot down at least 66 drones, adding that it lost track of 13 more in several Ukrainian regions in a statement it issued via the Telegram messaging app. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Singapore's Supreme Court convicted former Transport Minister S. Iswaran of 5 charges on Tuesday in a rare graft trial involving a state official in the Asian financial hub. Iswaran pleaded guilty on Tuesday to 4 counts of obtaining valuable items and 1 count of obstructing the course of justice. Iswaran is the first Singaporean minister to be tried in court on graft charges. The Vatican has confirmed plans remain in place for Pope Francis to go to Belgium and Luxembourg later this week, despite having cancelled all his audiences because of a slight flu-like state on Monday. 87-year-old Francis is due to visit Luxembourg on Thursday and then spend the rest of the week in Belgium, ending with a mass in Brussels on Sunday. Former Bolivian President Evo Morales called on Luis Arce's government for urgent changes amid growing discontent to prevent civil unrest in the Andean nation. Morales warned protests would be prolonged if Arce did not change his cabinet and approve a bill authorizing an international loan. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurates the Assembly of the Asian Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions in New Delhi. And JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says India can hit $7 trillion target by 2030.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Next news from New Delhi. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated the Assembly of the Asian Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, ASOSAI, in New Delhi. The 4-day conference will be followed by a series of discussions on the evolving role of supreme audit institutions in fostering transparency and accountability. The Assembly is witnessing the participation from more than 200 delegates representing 42 countries and international organizations, underscoring the diverse and collaborative nature of ASOSAI. A key highlight highlight of this year's assembly is the assumption of the chair of ASSOCHAI by the CAG of India, Girish Chandra Murmu, for the term 2024-27. German flag carrier Lufthansa is facing some difficult times. The airline is complaining about the cost of doing business, and it's even cut one important route from Frankfurt to Beijing. Lufthansa plans to suspend its Beijing routes departing Frankfurt Airport. The reasons are competition from China and other countries, as well as stricter European framework conditions. As per reports, Lufthansa will, in all likelihood, suspend its flights from Frankfurt to Beijing. And to tell us more about it, we have with us Lars Holter. He is with Deutsche Welle Berlin. Lars, what's going on at Lufthansa?
Thanks for having me. Well, let's look at that flight from Frankfurt to Berlin first that you just mentioned. Lufthansa has cut it, and there's a bunch of reasons for this step. First of all, the China business has been difficult for a while. Then came COVID and cuts drastically into air travel. Now, tourism has largely bounced back, but business travel has not. And for Germans, China has never been a major tourism destination. So most of the passengers Lufthansa flew back and forth between Frankfurt and Beijing were business travelers. Now that many businesses have switched from in-person meetings to online meetings, demand for the flight is simply shrinking. And there's also a few other problems. Ever since the EU has levied sanctions on Russia over Moscow's war in Ukraine, of course, Russia has closed off its airspace, forcing Lufthansa to fly a 2-hour detour and burn a lot more fuel than some competitors actually, like Emirates, Etihad and Qatar Airways do, because those airlines can still fly over Russia. So it seems right now, between rising cost and less demand, the route is not worth it for Lufthansa.
So how is Lufthansa doing outside this particular Chinese market, Lars?
Yeah, not too well either. And again, it's not just company problems. Lufthansa, just like other airlines, have long complained about the high cost of flying from and to German airports. I've actually just come upon a list of fees and taxes that airlines have to pay for their slots at different airports in Europe. And with just around 4,400 euros per flight, that would be in this case for an A320, the airports in Frankfurt, Stuttgart and Düsseldorf are the most expensive airports on the entire continent. Vienna and Paris aren't exactly cheap either, but they're over 1,000 euros cheaper than German airports. Rome comes in at half the price, and other smaller markets often just charge a fraction. Now, an airline like Lufthansa, with its major hub in Frankfurt, is of course disproportionately affected by such high rates. Add to that the high cost of getting flights more climate friendly through the growing use of sustainable aviation fuels, and you have a serious problem for the entire sector.
Serious problems there for Germany's Lufthansa. Lars Holter reporting from DW Berlin. Moving on, the 21st edition of India-US Economic Summit was organized in New Delhi on Tuesday. Industries with good performances were awarded at the event. The northern state of Uttar Pradesh was honored for maximum number of expressways. Addressing the event, Deputy Chief of Mission, United States Embassy, Jorgen K. Andrews, lauded the strength of bilateral relations between India and the US, saying they have further strengthened in recent times. During his ongoing visit to Australia, India's Minister of Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, interacted with Asia-Link business CEO Leigh Harvard in Sydney. During this insightful session with business leaders, the two dignitaries explored the Asia Century concept and the evolving landscape of trade and cooperation between India and Australia. The minister added that by harnessing India's demographic dividend, growing demand and robust rule of law within its vibrant democracy, we can transform challenges into opportunities and work towards our shared vision of regional prosperity. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has reached Tashkent, Uzbekistan to attend the 9th annual meeting of the Board of Governors at the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank AIIB. India is the second largest shareholder of the bank. During her visit, the minister will also sign the bilateral investment treaty between India and Uzbekistan. The treaty aims to promote more extensive economic cooperation for the mutual benefit of both countries on a long-term basis. Meanwhile, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of leading global banker JP Morgan Chase, predicted that India's economy could grow to $7 trillion by 2030. Expressing confidence in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Jamie Dimon said that India can achieve the target of becoming a $7 trillion economy by the end of the decade. The CEO also praised the digital and physical infrastructure created by Prime Minister Modi. Dimon highlighted that due to the development of infrastructure, multinational companies manufacturing advanced products and providing services are attracted to India. India continues to be the largest trading partner of Nepal. According to Nepal trade statistics released by the Department of Customs, Nepal's trade deficit stood at 237.45 billion Nepali rupees till mid-September of the fiscal year 2024-25. Nepal has a trade deficit with more than 100 countries, out of 145 with which Nepal has trade relations. Nepal continues to have the highest trade deficit with its two neighbours, India and China, to the amount of 144.67 billion and 51.80 billion respectively. And Indian markets touched an all-time high as Sensex breached the 85,000 mark and Nifty crossed 26,000 mark on Tuesday. Sensex closed the day at 84,914, down 15 points, while Nifty closed at 25,940, up just 1.35 points. In today's digital age, cyber safety is crucial, especially for students who are more exposed to the online world than ever before. The Government of India has taken several initiatives to ensure a safe digital environment for young users.
One of the key programs for cyber safety awareness is the Cyber Swachhta Kendra, established under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. This initiative provides tools to detect and prevent malicious software in devices, ensuring students and educational institutions remain secure from cyber threats.
Very soon, the people in the industry is not going to ask you for your resumes. They are going to take the profiles through the artificial intelligence. So, if you are going anywhere, to the sites that's going to be profiled, how much time you are spending doing what, that is being recorded. Also, where are you going? What places are you visiting? That's also recorded. There's so much of artificial intelligence.
Additionally, the government has launched information security education and awareness (ISEA) campaigns to promote awareness about cyber safety among students. Workshops, webinars, and online campaigns have been organized in schools and universities, focusing on topics like safe browsing, the danger of cyberbullying, and the importance of data privacy.
In today's generation, it's the hardest thing to not get lost in the cyber world. We're totally lost every single day being on social media and whatnot. And as for security, I definitely think that it's very necessary that you keep all your information private and secured. You can do this using the several controls that every app has.
There have been a lot of problems where girls have been harassed by so many different types of people on social media, where there are negative comments also being shared, which creates a very large amount of problem for people's self-esteem, and they started to feel very unsafe on social media.
Cybersecurity is extremely important for us because during this interconnected world, at the click of a button, our data can be transferred from one place to another.
I think that cyber safety is really important because I've heard that a lot of people and kids, they suicide because of cyberbullying. They being bullied. So in this case, cyber safety is very important.
The Ministry of Education, in collaboration with National Council of Educational Research and Training, has included cyber safety in the school curriculum, equipping students with the knowledge to navigate the digital world responsibly.
With numerous initiatives, the Government of India is not just enhancing the cyber awareness infrastructure in India, but at the same time is also fostering secure and more informed generation of digital citizens. With camera person Sunny Kalra, I am Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
Another thing that bothers the youth these days is the use of tobacco. The addiction needs to be curbed as soon as possible. Initiatives like the Tobacco-Free Youth Campaign 2.0 by the Indian government are playing a crucial role in putting an end to it. Bollywood figures also have a significant influence in encouraging people to adopt healthier habits. Our correspondent Siddharth Bardwaj spoke with actor Apar Shakti Khurana on this issue. Let's hear what he has to say.
Say no to tobacco. This is the motive of Tobacco Free Youth Campaign 2.0. And to talk more on this, I have with me Bollywood actor Apar Shakti Khurana. Apar, first of all, what inspired you to join this campaign?
See, I'll be honest, I've been a part of a lot of campaigns, I think government is really taking some beautiful initiatives, but this was definitely by far the most important one. I come from a sports upbringing. I come from a family where nobody used to smoke or drink, and I think whatever little I've achieved is a function of my discipline, and I really wanted to endorse that, and I really wanted to come and tell my stories to the youth here, and I think it's one of the finest decisions taken by the Health Ministry. I think Nada sir and the entire team has really put everything together that the youth today gets the right upbringing, and that's the first step that we should not, I think it's also not something which we need to, beyond a point, discuss. Yeah. You don't have to ask me why no tobacco. I think there cannot be any bandwidth to ask me why. It's very simple no, and it's a straight no in capitals.
What message would you like to give to the youth as an influential figure?
I would just want to say that I just met Manu Bakar inside. I met Navdeep Singh inside. If you all want to get the medals for the country, this is the kind of journey you need to have. And hence, please say no to tobacco.
Say no to tobacco. This is what Apar Shakti Khurana has said, and this is the sole motive of this campaign. With camera person Naveen, this is Siddharth Bardwaj reporting for DD India in New Delhi.
So stars descending at the Tobacco-Free Youth Campaign 2.0 at the Lady Hardinge Medical College in New Delhi. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And of course, you can download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.